Alright guys, so what we're about to do now is I'm actually going to take off the saddlebags. I'm going to pull out the Ohlin's rear suspension. We're going to get the bike jacked up, and then we're going to put on rear Ohlin suspension. And I'll show you guys how easy it is to do it. It's the simplest thing. You wouldn't think it was any easier, but it is pretty easy. Alright, let's get it. First time, I put that jack in the perfect spot, and I got both wheels already off the ground. How about that? To do what we're doing, you don't really have to jack it up, but to have it sitting upright helps you get to the shocks a lot easier. All right, so in order to do this job, we're going to be breaking off these bolts here and the one above the muffler there at the bottom. For that, I have a breakaway bar here. As you can see, it doesn't have much of a head, just a handle. It's a very sturdy bar. And I also have a 3/4 inch socket, and we're going to pop that on. This one has a swivel head, so allows you to get in there a little bit. I'll back the camera up just a little bit. That made me think they were not put on good. That thing broke loose like it was nothing. I didn't have to put any pressure to it. All right, I broke these loose, and we'll go on the other side and do the same thing. All right, so just a quick tip. If you're doing this job and you're installing a suspension like this, I recommend doing one at a time and leaving one of the shocks on, because right now the position between the wheel and this and the swing arm is the same distance on both sides. And if you do these one at a time, it's a lot easier. If you take them both off, then the swing arm with the wheel on it and all that weight's going to fall down. It's going to be sitting against your muffler most likely if you have the bike jacked up. If you don't have it jacked up, then this fender is going to come down and sit on the back, on the top of the wheel, and it makes this a lot easier. That's why I have it jacked up, is because the jack will help you get in between both sides of it. As far as like if I did happen to take these off and it puts you in a bad spot, is what happens. If I did take both of the shocks off and try to do it that way, I'd have to jack the bike up and play with the jack and these shocks to get it back in correctly. We're going to get this one side taken off. We're going to do this one side right now. Do what I'm doing on this side, you mimic it and do the same thing on the other side. This is the box you get from Ohlin's once you get your Ohlin suspension. Now I've already done this, so I'm just showing you what it is that you get here. You get a bunch of pamphlets, on how to do your install. These were my shocks on my other bike, and we're going to be getting them installed today on Stallion. Like I said, I'm doing one at a time, so all of my screws and stuff's in here too. You do have to do some kind of assembly and put that together right there where the hook's at and the arm is, and then you got your shock. So we're going to put that on, and I'll show you guys how we're doing it. All right, guys, so like I said, this is a pretty simple setup. When you do it, you want to make sure there's one screw on the back of the Ohlin's. Once you put it on, you want that facing toward the fender, so it's kind of hidden and this cleaner side is sticking out. Okay, so let me get my 2 bolts ready here. Probably just do one to start it, and then we'll do the other one here in a second. I'm just pivoting this on my leg right now as to not let it hit or scratch the bike. Like I said, this is the easier way of doing it. I don't know if you just noticed, I just used one hand to put these screws in on both the top and the bottom here, from where the fender connects and where the wheel connects at. And I just did that with one hand. And the reason why I was able to do that is because of the other side. I left the stock shock on there in this process, okay? I'm gonna use my wrench here to tighten these up a little faster. Now, there is torque specs for these. Please go by the torque specs that you're supposed to use. My torque wrench doesn't have a step down at the moment, and I have to get one. And then I would obviously go back and torque this to the correct torque spacing. I don't know the exact poundage at the moment, but if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. All right, so that's that part of it. I'm gonna get you guys down here so you can see this a little bit. All right, so when you do this install, they give you these screws. The screws are both the same length, and they have spacers that come with them. The spacers are used for the difference between the front and the back on this side over here. All right, let me see if I can show you guys this. All right, so when you're installing this, you have these two screws here, this one and this rear one. I think they take the same torque head screw, as you can see. I'm gonna have to get up and grab that. But you replace that with these two Allen head keys. They're Allen heads. Make sure your spacers that you see on here, there's this black spacers. Make sure they're on the right screw. This bigger one goes on that back screw. And if you can tell, that one's a little bit more in depth and this one's sticking out. So that's why you have the spacers. But that's where the Ohlin's suspension hooks up at, okay? All right, so we're just getting out these two screws that I was telling you guys about, okay? There's a washer in there too, so make sure you grab the washer. Sweet. All right. And then I'm gonna get the correct Allen head and we're gonna mount this thing up, okay? All right, so I got both screws here going. Make sure you put the little black spacer on the inside of where the frame is. And then the screws will just go straight on the outside. Again, the bigger spacer goes on the rear, the small spacer goes on the front. I'm doing this by hand right now just to be careful and not strip anything. I would also recommend applying blue Loctite on here. All right, guys, so as you can see, we got both of them installed now. Everything's seated up really well. Looks great. I love the look of it. It looks really nice. I'll get the saddlebags back on and I'll get you guys another view of it once I have those put on. All right, guys, so I got the Ohlins installed, saddlebags on. You can tell how clean that looks. It looks real good. Very happy with it. Looking forward to maybe getting some riding in next couple of days, but it is supposed to be pretty cold here in North Carolina, so we shall see how that works out. Looks awesome. Yeah, it looks awesome.